Hi everyone, and welcome to Randy's Roundtable. It's great to be with Blues Alumni here at the train shed at Union Station. You should stop by. Great food and drink and a lot of fun. And it'll be fun today to visit with Keith Tkachuk, longtime veteran Blue. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Randy.
And Barret Jackman, who had a terrific career with the St. Louis Blues, won a Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy, and both have made their homes in St. Louis. Jax, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having us.
So I've got two guys from both sides of North America, Trail, British Columbia for Barret Jackman, and Boston, Massachusetts for Keith Tkachuk. And Barret, I'll start with you. Here you are in St. Louis. You've decided to settle in the middle of North America. What is it about St. Louis that drew you to stay here?
The wife kind of sucked me in, but
that happens.
It's just the people. Anywhere you go, there's sports fans, but they're just good people. They just want to be friends, be friendly, ask about your kids, ask how your day-to-day is going, and my kids just enjoyed every part of it, whether it's the attractions like Union Station, the zoo, growing up playing sports, and it's just everybody kind of has the same outlook on life and enjoy people's company.
How about you, Walt?
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, when I got traded here, the kids were really young, and basically my two boys were born in Scottsdale, and then my daughter was born here in St. Louis. So it's, you kind of get bunked into where your kids grow up as a kids. They were going to school here. We love the whole living arrangements. It's a great place to live, great place to raise a family. The schools were outstanding, and the people we met basically were the reason why. Obviously, we wanted to be here a long time and fell in love with it and never wanted to leave. And like Jack said, there's a lot of great attractions around here. And ultimately, it's a great sports town. This is where, you don't know much about it until you actually play here. You hear from a lot of different players that have played here. Because when you visit here, you only visit downtown. You only see one thing. You don't see a lot of other things. So we kind of fell in love with it, and we haven't left since I've been traded here.
Walt was traded here in the spring of '01. You came up the next year, and I remember, first of all, you early on bringing your boys, who now are in the NHL, to the dressing room, and those guys running around and shooting hockey pucks. But you actually, because you were a young kid when you came around, you actually developed somewhat of a relationship with those guys early on, didn't you?
Yeah, I think
wrestling the guys in the dressing room.
Wrestling, playing mini sticks with the boys in the locker room. But yeah, I remember the story the first time. I really saw the boys. I was a black ace standing in the locker room after a game in the playoffs, and just waiting to see what was going to happen the next day. And these two boys come flying in. They got gloves on. They got sticks, and they're just in the dressing area. And all of a sudden, they looked at each other. They dropped their gloves, started punching each other in the face. And I was with I think Eric Boganicki and Matt Walker, and we were looking at each other, kind of wondering if we should, maybe break up the fight between, I think it was a 2- and 4-year-old or whatever it was. And all of a sudden, Big Walt comes around the corner in his robe and said, "Boys, knock it off." They picked up their gloves, went back and started playing hockey again.
They like father, like son, right?
Yeah, those are the days. Thank God. I like Jack's, there's nothing better than bringing your kids to the rink. But, the boys will be boys, They like scrapping, like playing with each other. They're best friends, and I love bringing them to the rink, and they love being around that environment.
You are a real nurturer of young players. Most recently, Robert Thomas. We talked earlier before we started this recording. David Backus, Lee Stempniak. You had guys, young players, living in your house. Where did that come from? Why did you do that?
You know what? Because I know what it was like being a young guy. I mean, I was miles and miles away on my own back in, I think, 91, 92 was my first year. And, you don't have a lot of help. Not that other guys had different things. It's not like it is now. So I wanted to make sure, I want to make guys feel comfortable. I don't want them staying in a hotel. I don't want them eating, going out every night. There's nothing better than having a home-cooked meal, because you're on the road all the time. So I think it's important to give a guy, a nice place to stay, a place where he can move around a little bit. And because I know what it was like. I mean, you're by yourself in a town where you don't know a lot of people. You don't have any family around, and that can be tough. I mean, you want to make them feel comfortable so they can go out and help you, win the game, or, they feel comfortable where they can go to the rink and not stress about stupid stuff. So I enjoyed it. It kept me young, and the boys loved it. So was a lot of fun having those guys.
And it's a pretty cool tradition. And that's not indigenous to St. Louis either. It's a hockey thing with billet families, right? It's just part of what hockey is.
Yeah, you know, the older guys, you know, like Walt said, he was treated that way when he was growing up and learning his way around the league. And you know, Walt and Dougie Waite and you know, and Al, all these guys were just, you know, so gracious about trying to teach you about life, not just about hockey. And you know, having you know, team parties over at you know, Walt's house, having a home cooked meal.
Or at Obie Clark's.
Or at Obie Clark's, yeah. It's sat in the booth a couple times with Big Walt.
We've had a lot of sanctioned parties there, a lot of sanctioned team meetings there.
Team meetings, there you go.
Yeah, but it's all part of it. Just you know, and the closer the team is, you know, whether you're, you know, you're 37 and you know, you get a 19-year-old on the team. It's if you're close and you can relate and you can get along with guys, you're going to play harder for each other on the ice.
What was it like for you when the Blues finally broke through and won the Cup in 2019?
It was awesome. You know, a lot of those guys I played with, and you know, and we're teammates, and just to see the city. You know, I think it was at every home game, and then me and Walt went up to the games in Boston, including Game 7 with, you know, with Bobby and Prongs and Hully. So we were huge fans. You know, we were jumping around in the box in Boston and in the alumni room here, and high fives all around. And it was so cool just to see, you know, at the end of it too, the parade and people hanging from the parking garages. And
that was cool.
It was really, it blew my mind. It was greater than I experienced or thought it was going to be, and so it was just it was fun to be alumni and feel that pride in what the guys accomplished.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, even though we weren't on the ice, you know, with the jersey on, we're still a big part of it. And you know, like Jack said, we play with a lot of guys. You know, just the whole atmosphere of being there and seeing what was going to happen after the little disappointment in Game 6. Nobody expected that team to win, and then to do it, and the excitement afterwards, the flight home. I mean, and then what happened the next couple days was just what everybody dreamed of being a Blues fan. Seeing what happened, what unfolded, the parties at OB's, the parade, which was way beyond what I ever would have thought, and to be a part of that was incredible. And it's nice to see the fans and the people that have waited a long time to be a part of that. It was incredible experience. It was something I'll never forget.
And knowing what we know now, I know you guys both agree with me, the fact that Bobby Plager did get a chance to experience that made it so much more important.
Yeah, just for him to, you know, before he passed, to be able to go and see the team and lift that cup. I don't think you talk to anybody in the city that, you know, the first thing you think about that cup is, you know, the parade for Bobby and seeing him, you know, hoisting the cup. So, you know, it was cool to be, you know, so close to him and be able to share that moment with him.
How about you? I know that when you walked through the door, Bobby Plager was there, right?
I mean, obviously there's a really special bond between Jacks and Bobby that'll always be with Jacks for a long time. And you know, anytime you get traded to St. Louis like I did, or drafted, the first guy you see get basically in the first few days is Bobby Plager. You know, he was always in the locker room, and he was there from day one, and incredible watching him. I think he was on our flight up there, but never came home with us. He went home with the team.
He went home with the team, yeah.
which should be that way. I mean, that you got to give a shout out to Tom Stillman and Doug Armstrong for that, to be able to let Bobby go back as he is. I mean, he is St. Louis. He is a St. Louis Blue. It's sad that he's not here, but we're going to miss him big time. But it's a great experience to see him on the ice up in the cup up.
Hey, as we wrap up here, I want to talk about hockey in St. Louis. And obviously we mentioned Matthew and Brady playing in the NHL. You have kids that are playing. Youth hockey in St. Louis is just spectacular right now. When you came here, and obviously you were a really young person, but when you look at when you got here and where youth hockey has, the level it's achieved in the last 5 or 6 years, what do you think of where we are as a hockey community?
I think it's incredible. I just remember sitting in the dressing room, in the training room, and Walt and Al, and occasionally you'd see Rob Ramage or Basil McRae. They're all, you know, hot stoving, you know, about all these teams, and I thought they were talking about, you know, different players that were in the NHL or in the minors, but you know, they're they were spending more time with the youth hockey, and you know, it really shows at how well you know, all those kids drafted in the first round with Matthew and you know, Brady's success, and then you know, all those kids that are coming up and going to different junior teams and colleges. You know, it's the effort that the alumni have put in so many years ago, and that's you know, it's going to continue because we have so many alumni that are still living here with kids that are, you know, between the ages of 9 and 18 that are still involved and will be until you know, the next group of alumni come along, and you know, a lot of the other coaches too, not just the alumni, that put a lot of effort in a day-to-day basis.
And Walt, you watch college players all the time, so you get to see players from all over North America. How does St. Louis stack up in terms of the quality of player we're turning out?
Well, first of all, that's the one thing I'm most proud of, to be able to be a part of that and help kids, you know, move along in their careers, and Jack sees it too now. And I love the fact that there's guys like Jax and Andy McDonald and Neil Komanowski and et cetera, guys who are putting time in and helping these kids along. I think it's important. I'm not necessarily, I'm ecstatic, and I love the fact that we have first rounders. It means just as much to see a kid whose parents have a hard time spending money for college that they get a full scholarship. We've had girls that gone on to play college. We've had kids that found a way to play junior. You're just trying to move them year after year, you know? You're not really looking at, hey, here's a peewee, I want him to be a first rounder. You just want to keep them pushing and looking forward to coming to the rink every day. And it's gratifying when you see, even if one kid just gets a chance to play college hockey, you know, getting a free education and moving on, whether he plays in the NHL or not. If he does play in the NHL, hey, that's great, but that's not why we do it. And I know Jax is going to really enjoy watching his kids and coaching his kids. And this is nothing better than father time and coaching time to be with the kids than this. And this is this is one thing I love doing after I retire.
Hey, we're so proud to have you guys here in St. Louis, part of the alumni. Whenever you guys are at the rink, I love seeing you there, and it's been a lot of fun talking to you guys. Thanks so much for the time.
Anytime, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Tkachuk Barret Jackman, and that is Randy's Roundtable from the Train Shed. Hope you'll stop by and enjoy some of the great food here at the Train Shed at Union Station, and we'll see you next time.